إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحش.
Menengok, ini panas loh. Assalamualaikum Dila.
The movie begins in a female Islamic boarding school in Bengurdas village, East Java. All the students and staff gather in the boarding school mosque for dawn prayers. A girl named Herlina comes to her room to take the Quran, but she falls asleep there. Later, because of Herlina's actions, teacher Ayu punishes all the girls in the class by making them clean the yard, bathroom, and shed. Herlina arrives and apologizes to Ayu, but Ayu ignores her excuse and instructs everyone to start cleaning. Obi and her friends, Dilla and Siti, become angry with Herlina and decide to teach her a lesson, telling Herlina's friends to leave. Rainam advises Obi not to do this, explaining that Herlina has only been there for a month and is still adjusting. However, Obi insists that their class was the best in the school, but since Herlina arrived, Herlina missed prayers and they have been punished for it. However, after Rainam's persuasion, Obi and her friends eventually leave. Later, Herlina's mother Devi visits her, and Herlina confides that everyone at the school hates her. Devi reassures her that the others will like her once they get to know her better. Herlina mentions Rainam, the only student who is kind to her, while the rest are mean. Devi suggests that Herlina try to stay for a semester, and if she still doesn't like it, she will talk to her father. Only then do they see Obi's father scolding her, asking what she did to get punished. He tells her that he already has a lot on his plate and doesn't need more trouble from her. Later that evening, Devi tells Herlina's father that Herlina is more obedient now, but she thinks she doesn't like it there, and suggests it might be time for her to come home. However, Sapto asks what she can learn from the school in only 1 month. He suggests letting her stay there longer, as she needs discipline. Meanwhile, Ranam tells Herlina that she is going to the mosque and asks if she wants to come with her. Herlina agrees and says she needs to get ready first, and Ranam leaves saying she will wait in the wudu room. After a while, Obi and Dilla confront Herlina, accusing her of speaking ill about them to Ayu. Confused, Herlina denies saying anything, but they start torturing her. Obi tells Herlina she doesn't want to hear anything from her. Herlina tries to escape, but they catch her and throw her down, causing Herlina's hand to get burned. Obi then picks up the hot iron and threatens to burn her face. Terrified, Herlina attempts to escape again, but the girls chase and catch her before she can call for help. They drag her to the bathroom where Dilla dunks her hand in a bucket of dirty water, and Obi tortures her by pouring cold water over her. Herlina manages to escape again, reaching the road, but she falls in front of a car, which runs her over. The scene shifts to the hospital, where Devi and Sapto are distraught. Seeing Herlina's condition and noticing her burnt hand, Sapto remarks that this injury is not from the car crash. He confronts the teachers, asking how they failed to notice his daughter's burn injury and how his daughter could have been outside her dormitory so late at night. Daros apologizes, admitting they failed to ensure Herlina's safety. Sapto angrily responds that he sent his daughter to their boarding school to improve her, not to let her get hurt or bullied, and then asks them to leave. The next day, Obi and her friends ask Rainam if they should visit Herlina in the hospital, and meanwhile, we see that Herlina dies in the hospital. 1 week later, Herlina suddenly appears at the boarding school, and seeing her, Rainam, Obi, and her friends are shocked. Later, the teachers discuss the need to ask Herlina what happened that night, but Ayu suggests they should give her time. When Jafar mentions that he suspects her classmates bullied her, Ayu advises him to stop thinking negatively about the students. She adds that while Daros is teaching at another school, they must keep a closer watch on the students to prevent further incidents like Herlina's, as it could damage the school's reputation. That evening, during a class, Ayu notices Herlina staring at her. Suddenly, Herlina appears next to Ayu and then disappears, and Ayu is startled and frightened by another teacher named Indri. After the class, Rainam asks Herlina if she wants to talk to the teachers, or her about that night. To which Herlina responds by asking Raynam not to worry and says, "No bad deed goes unpunished." That night while patrolling the compound, Obi finds City standing in the bathroom. She calls out to her, but receives no reply, and when she approaches her, Obi is horrified to see City in a demonic form. Terrified, Obi runs straight to the teachers for help, but no one answers the door, and the lights start flickering. Soon, City appears and attacks Obi, and Obi sees Herlina's face in the demonic figure, looking very angry. Just then, Gani comes out and tries to intervene, but City pushes him aside. City then goes to Gani and tries to choke him, but Gani places his hand on her head and begins reciting prayers. He asks the entity about its identity, and it reveals that it is Satan. Later, Dilla informs Obi that Gani has cast out the demon, to which Obi replies that she is still scared, revealing that she saw City's face while she was possessed. And it wasn't City's face, but Herlina's. The next day, Raynam and the other girls visit Obi, but she is once again terrified when she sees Herlina's face in City's. She asks to be left alone, and tells Raynam to remove City, insisting that it isn't City but Herlina. Indri arrives upon hearing the commotion, and tries to calm Obi down, but Obi continues to repeat that it is Herlina, not City. Later, we see Raynam and Herlina reading the Quran together, but suddenly, Herlina's voice becomes demonic. Raynam looks up at Herlina, who then tells her to continue. The next morning, City asks Raynam who she recited the Quran with the previous night. Raynam replies that it was Herlina. City asks if she is sure because she thought Herlina couldn't read. She then asks where Herlina is now, and Raynam says she is still in bed. However, they get shocked to see Herlin already sitting in the mosque, staring at them. Later, City tells Raynam that something is not right with Herlina since she returned. She mentions that Herlina is now punctual, smiles all the time, and can even recite the Quran. Only then do they see Herlina approaching them, causing City to get scared, and Herlina just greets them with a creepy smile before walking away. Later, when Raynam returns to her room, she is shocked to see Herlina there, acting strangely. And before she can comprehend the situation, Herlina stops and looks back at her. Scared? Raynam asks what she is doing, to which Herlina responds, saying she should be the one asking why she is standing there watching her. Later, Raynam accompanies Obi for evening prayers, and during this time, she sees Herlina wandering around. Perplexed, she leaves Obi alone at the mosque to follow Herlina. Meanwhile, the lights in the mosque start flickering before it becomes dark. Obi is scared, but continues her prayers. However, when she gets up, she is horrified to find she is facing the opposite direction. She quickly turns back and starts praying again, but once more, she finds her position has changed. Terrified, Obi hears a demonic voice, but when she gets up to check, she finds no one there, and suddenly, Herlina haunts her. Hearing Obi's scream, Raynam quickly returns to her and finds Obi praying in the wrong direction. Confused, Raynam approaches her, and upon checking, is terrified to discover that Obi is dead. The next day, CT asks Raynam if she wants to be her roommate again, and Raynam agrees. When they go to their room, Dilla accuses Raynam of leaving Obi alone, blaming her for Obi's death, to which Raynam responds, saying she deeply regrets it and will never forget being the last to see her alive and the first to find her dead. Siti intervenes, saying they all miss Obi and she doesn't want to lose another friend. Later that night, we see Raynam sleeping in Siti's room. However, when she wakes up, she is shocked to find herself in Herlina's room. Herlina, sitting on the edge of her bed, asks if she can't sleep. Then, Herlina gets down from her bed and calls out Raynam's name, but Raynam doesn't respond out of fear. And after some time, when Raynam looks back, she finds that Herlina has disappeared. Meanwhile, Siti notices that Raynam is not in her bed. Perplexed, she wakes up Dilla and tells her that Raynam is missing, and they decide to look for her. They go to Herlina's room to search for her, but don't find anyone there. They continue searching for Raynam, and after some time, Dilla is shocked to discover that Siti has also disappeared. Dilla then hears a demonic voice and tries to leave, but the voice persists, and suddenly she encounters Herlina. Raynam tries to calm her down, reassuring her that it's her, and once Dilla has calmed down, she asks where Siti is. Ranam says she will search for Siti and asks Dilla to find Gani. Meanwhile, Siti is haunted by Herlina, causing Siti to run away in fear. She rushes to the mosque and finds students engaged in their prayers. However, she soon realizes that something is wrong, which heightens her fear. Suddenly, all the students turn to look at her, and before she can understand what's happening, a cloth comes flying towards her. Just in time, Rainam arrives at the mosque, tries to calm Siti down, and Siti notices that the mosque is now empty. On the other hand, Dilla visits Ghani and asks for his help, but receives no response. Confused, she approaches him and tries to wake him up, only to feel as if Herlina is standing behind her. And when she looks back, she finds that Ghani is no longer there. The lights in the room then begin to flicker, and the door slams shut as she tries to flee. After a while, she hears Herlina's voice, but sees no one when she looks around. And suddenly, someone starts banging on the door. Terrified, she backs away, and just then, Herlina attacks her. Rainam and Siti rush into Ghani's room and find Herlina dragging Dilla into the darkness, and only then do they hear Dilla screaming from outside. Meanwhile, Ayu and Indri also come out, hearing Dilla's screams, and set out to find her. After a while, they find Dilla at the mosque, in the same position as Obi was found. Ayu and Indri rush to her and discover that she is dead, leaving the other students shocked. Soon after, Ranam and Siti arrive, and Rainam notices Herlina standing in a corner with a creepy smile. Later, Ghani tells Jafar that they need to send the students home immediately. Jafar suggests waiting until Darius returns, but Ghani insists that this is an emergency and that Darius will approve the decision to send the students home. At that moment, Rainam and Siti arrive, and Ranam tells them that the deaths appear to be connected to Herlina. Ghani asks for clarification, and Siti explains that they saw Dilla being attacked by Herlina in the teacher's room. After this, all the students are asked to gather in the mosque and spend the night there for their safety. However, Herlina is seen lying next to Rainam, staring at her with a creepy smile. Herlina then calls out Rainam's name, but Rainam finds Siti next to her, who asks if she can come with her to the bathroom. Rainam agrees and waits outside the bathroom while Siti goes in, and inside, we see that Herlina is already there. After a while, Siti hears the sound of the door opening, which scares her a little, but she assumes it might be Rainam. However, Ranam is still waiting outside, and Siti quietly walks past her. Suddenly, Rainam notices Siti and starts following her. She eventually finds Siti standing in a place and approaches her, asking what she is doing. But at that moment, Siti appears from behind Ranam, shocking her, and the figure Ranam thought was Siti turns out to be Herlina. Both Rainam and Siti then run away in fear, but they keep returning to the same place from where they started running away. Suddenly, Herlina grabs Siti's leg, and Ghani and Jafar arrive and rush to help, and manage to pull her away from Herlina. Ghani then confronts the entity, which reveals that it is a servant of God and a jinn of Islam. Ghani orders it to leave Herlina's body, but the entity responds that somebody summoned it to kill those evil people. Ghani insists that it must leave, threatening to destroy it with the words of God, but the jinn asks him to try. Ghani accepts the challenge and begins reciting prayers, but to his horror, that jinn also starts reciting prayers with him. Furious, he hits the jinn with his tasbih, but to his shock, the jinn begins to laugh and suddenly appears behind him, before disappearing. Soon after, it again appears in front of him, and only then Herlina's parents arrive there. Devi rushes to her and tells her that she is her mother, but the jinn don't recognize her. Now here, it is revealed that the car Herlina had the accident in was being driven by her mother Devi, but Devi had believed she had hit a pile of wood rather than Herlina. Suddenly, the jinn drags Devi into the darkness, and before anyone can react, Devi's lifeless body comes flying toward them. Ghani and Jafar attempt to control the jinn, but it overpowers them, and just as it moves towards Siti to attack her, Darius intervenes by grabbing its leg and throwing it to the ground. Darius, with the help of Ghani and Jafar, performs an exorcism on Herlina, and the jinn struggles fiercely to escape from them. During the exorcism, it is revealed that Sapto had instructed the doctors to conceal Herlina's death from everyone, especially from her mother. Sapto took Herlina to a shaman. agreeing to do anything in return for the shaman's help to resurrect her. The shaman informed him that nothing could undo the spell, and that Herlina's death would have to be avenged. Sapto had driven a nail into her daughter's head with her own hands so that she could come back to life and take revenge on those who were responsible for her condition. Sapto rushes to help Doris and pulls the nail out of Herlina's head, causing the jinn to leave her body and Herlina, then returns to being a corpse once again. A few days later, while Sapto is sitting alone at home, someone knocks on the door, and when he opens it, the shaman appears and reminds him that he was told not to pull the nail out before the job was done. The shaman then throws the nail down, and to Sapto's horror, he sees Herlina standing in front of him, and the movie ends there. Thanks for facing the frights with us. If you survived this video, drop a like, summon that subscribe button, and brace yourself for more horror. Until next time, stay spooked.